Welcome back to another episode of College Hockey Talk. On today's episode, we have a very special guest, Northeastern Sophomore, Beanpot champion, and Vancouver Canucks draft pick, Aidan McDonough. Aidan, thank you so much for coming on, and how's it going?
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's going well. Just kind of in the middle of our training camp right now. Going full boat with classes and practice and training and stuff. So it's been good so far.
That's good to hear. And what did your offseason look like this year amid a pandemic, and what did you do to prepare for this season amid so many challenges?
When our season ended in March, it was definitely a bummer, and had a lot of time to prepare for the season. So at first I couldn't really do much. I was kind of doing things out of my house, working out and shooting in my backyard. And as the rinks and gyms started to open up, I was able to get back to my normal routine with working out and skating, like I normally do in the summer, Monday through Friday at the gym in Foxborough and skating in Canton. So I was able to have, I think, a really good summer, and I feel really good so far this season.
And you did mention that you're getting back on the ice with some of your teammates. How's your team look so far, and what are your thoughts on this year's freshman class coming in?
Yeah, our team looks really good. I think, all the freshmen are really good guys, really skilled, fast group. I think that's probably the biggest two things different from last year. Last year we were a bit bigger, a bit heavier on pucks. I think this year we still are, but we got a lot of smaller, fast, really skilled forwards. We have the same really good D. We returned a lot of defensemen, and our new goalie looks really good. Devin Levi looks really good. So, yeah, I think we'll definitely be a lot faster this year and, really skilled and deep too.
What are some of your goals and expectations for yourself and for your team coming into next year?
I don't really like to set like personal goals in terms of like points and goals. I just, want to have an impact every night on the game. On the ice, I want to be more of a dominant player and take more of a step as I did last year. Have the puck on my stick more, shoot more, and create more offense that way. As a team, I think our goals are always the same: to win the Beanpot, win Hockey East, and win a national championship. My goals are just to kind of contribute to that and be a good leader and best player I can be.
Now, I want to start off talking about before you went to Northeastern. You're from Milton, Massachusetts. How'd you start playing hockey and falling in love with the sport?
Yeah, my dad played in high school, and his whole family played, and I kind of just grew up in Milton trying a bunch of different sports and fell in love with hockey really early. My dad kind of pushed me towards it and then fallen in love. And then growing up, I grew up right next to a pond that I would go skate at in the winters and playing for my youth team, the South Shore Kings. I think just bonding with close friends and kind of the camaraderie. I think that's kind of what drew me to it. But I love skating. I love playing hockey. I love being on the ice. And after that, I just kind of grew. I grew up playing baseball my whole life as well. And for a while there, hockey and baseball were tied with my favorite sports. But I kind of always knew that hockey was what I wanted to do. And I just kind of fell in love with it from an early age.
Now, who was your favorite player growing up, and what part of their game do you try to emulate to your game?
That's a tough one. I liked a lot of different guys. Being from Boston, I've always really liked. I like Patrice Bergeron. I like Zdeno Chara, even though he's a defenseman. But I used to be a Bruins fan when I was younger. That's obviously a little bit different now. But yeah, and like same guys that are big, that can score. I always love Malkin, Jamie Benn, Mikko Rantanen, and guys like that are big bodies, but can score and make plays.
Now, before Northeastern, you played for the Cape Cod Whalers AAA team. Talk about what it was like to play for them and what you learned from that experience.
Yeah, playing with the Whalers was awesome. I got to play with guys that I played with growing up with and against. So it's really cool to kind of cap off our youth careers by playing together in high school. The Whalers is made up of a bunch of different prep school kids, so you're with guys from different schools, and it's really cool to get to know those guys and become friends with them. And I was playing with some of my best friends since first grade all the way up until Whalers, so that was awesome. And playing under Coach Monty, Coach Rathbone, Coach Orpik, those are three of the coaches that I had, and they were awesome with the Whalers. And it was always a lot of fun playing with the Whalers, and we always had a really good team.
You also had the opportunity to play in the USHL for the Cedar Rapids Rough Riders. What was it like to play in the USHL, and how did it help you prepare for college hockey?
Yeah, the USHL was huge for me. I don't think I would be close to the player I am today without going there. I think it's it's a really good stop for anyone to want to play college or even play professional to really hard league. At first I struggled a bit, and then towards the second half of the year, I started to, kind of find my footing and try to take off there. But I loved it. I had a really good experience. I had awesome Villa family, great coach and Mark Carlson. He really pushes you to be the best player, and awesome team, great captain, great team. We had a really good team and a lot of fun out there. And I think I learned so much about myself and kind of moved away from home for the first time and matured. And kind of was able to develop different aspects of my game that I had when I was younger. So that was a really big year for me.
Now, I want to talk to you about your recruiting process. What made you want to go to Northeastern?
Well, I grew up going to, as many really kid in Massachusetts, going to the Beanpot. So I've always wanted to play in the Beanpot and play for a Beanpot school. And through high school, I visited some schools, and when I visited Northeastern, I kind of fell in love with it right away. Coach Madigan, the head coach there, actually lives like 4 or 5 streets away from me in Milton. So I know him from when I was younger, and I just kind of felt really comfortable with the coaches and kind of seeing the way they've been producing NHLers recently and developing guys from their freshman year to their senior year was something that, really intrigued me. And then, obviously last year, I think I made the best decision of my life there with coming here. It's been awesome every day. So.
Yeah, I want to ask you more about Coach Jim Madigan, who's obviously one of the most respected and legendary coaches in Hockey East. What's it like to play under him, and what have you learned about hockey that you didn't know before under his tutelage?
Yeah, he's been awesome. He's a great coach. Really cares about all the guys and all the players. He knows every class that you're taking. He knows where you're living. He knows your roommates. He knows everything. He's really dialed in with the whole school and with everything in your social life. So, he's awesome to have as to kind of lean on. And but he's also a really good hockey coach. Probably the biggest thing that I've taken away from him is just kind of your details every day. To prepare like a pro and to be dialed in and have good details on and off the ice. And, I think he obviously teaches us to be good hockey players, but more importantly, good people and good men. So that's, probably the biggest thing I've taken away from him.
And you were injured to start off your freshman campaign at Northeastern. What adversity did you have to go through just to get back on the ice early in the year, that year?
Yeah, that was tough. I broke my finger from a slap shot from one of my teammates about like a week into the season. So that was tough, being able to learn all the systems and get comfortable with the guys and get used to the pace and the strength of college hockey while, not being able to practice. So yeah, I think, the older guys and the coaches really helped me a lot. I was able to watch all the practices and kind of learn the systems from the stands, which was harder to do. But I think when I got back on the ice, I was able to kind of get my feet wet the first couple of games of practices and get back. It was definitely tough. I think just going through camp this year, I think, it's going to help me a lot more when the season comes in terms of just being ready, because I was a little bit, not out of shape, but I was, just not used to skating as much. So it definitely was tough, but, I was able to try to get, back into it quickly. And I think it's why, my first 5 or 6 games, I started off a little slow. After that, I was able to start to generate more.
Talk about what it's like to play at historic Matthews Arena in front of those crazy fans. It just seems awesome to be there, and as a player, it must be pretty cool to be a part of that atmosphere.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love playing at Matthews. I love the ice. First, probably one of the most thing that sticks out to me is the ice sheet's a little bit bigger than NHL size. It's a little bit smaller than Olympics, so I think it allows you to have more time and space when you have the puck in the zone. And then the rink itself, I love a big history guy, so I love the history behind it, and being the oldest indoor rink in the world. And the doghouse, our fans are awesome. Obviously this year we don't really know what's going to happen. Probably not be able to play with fans, but when they're there at a home game, it's definitely a huge advantage. And making a play or scoring or throwing a big hit and hearing them light up is awesome to have their support, and they definitely make a difference for sure.
Now, speaking of the Beanpot, I have to ask you about that insane Beanpot game last year. Was that the craziest game you've ever been a part of, and what was your mindset heading into overtime after BU scored that late goal in the third period?
Yeah, definitely was the craziest game I've been a part of for sure. Definitely ranks number one. And then right when they scored, I was kind of shocked and at a loss for words. And I think everyone was pretty riled going into the locker room there. We were pretty down on ourselves. And then I think we kind of carried it over into the first overtime, where we were pretty kind of shocked and just, weren't really moving our feet or playing. And then, our older guys kind of stepped up and had some words in the locker room before we went out for the second overtime and kind of rallied the troops a little bit. And we came out and played a lot better, and then ended up getting the power play and scoring there. And but yeah, definitely probably the craziest game I've ever been a part of. And so much highs and lows and so many emotions throughout that game. It was pretty crazy.
And talk about what it's like to play at the Garden and the atmosphere the Beanpot had when you were there. Obviously, growing up in Massachusetts, you probably have been to the Garden, and just being part of that atmosphere, what was it like to be a player in that?
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, I grew up going to the Beanpot every single year. I'll never forget my dad get me out of school early, and we'd go to the Garden, go to the fours before and get dinner, and then go into the game and kind of just run around with all the friends and local kids that there. It's like you walk around the concourse and you know every single kid in there and every parent, and just be able to be out there was pretty special. To look up and see so many friends and family and familiar faces was really special. And then obviously playing at the Garden is amazing. I mean, the bright lights and kind of everything that comes with it's really special. So I think our team's been able to be pretty successful there the last few years, and hopefully we keep that up.
What was it like when you won that Beanpot after the overtime goal was scored? What emotions were you feeling, and what was it like to feel that you were now a Beanpot champion yourself?
Yeah, it was awesome. I think something that we always say and our coaches always say is that you can't really experience the Beanpot unless you win it. So playing in it is cool, but winning it is something different. And like I said, to have so many friends and family there to be able to celebrate with them, holding that trophy and looking up and seeing all of them cheering for me was a really special feeling that I'll definitely never forget.
No, you got to play in Northern Ireland last year. Talk about that, and what was the coolest thing you got to do when you were up there?
Yeah, Belfast was a really fun trip. It was definitely long. We were there for a full week. It was definitely a lot of different culture. I'm Irish, and I have cousins over in Ireland. So my whole family went over and visited with them while we were in Belfast practicing, and that was really cool. The atmosphere at the rink, it was packed both games, and it was a lot of fun. We both played two really well games, and we were able to win it, which was awesome. Probably obviously the first thing that was cool about was winning it, because anytime you get to compete for a championship, that's special, especially so early on in the season. And then probably I didn't really appreciate it at the time because I didn't watch the show, but we did a tour of Winterfell Castle and Game of Thrones, and I hadn't seen it at the time, so I didn't really appreciate it. But we kind of just started watching it in our room because we have some downtime right now with the holiday weekend. So, and that's really special that we were able to go there. It's really cool. I wish I kind of watched the show before so I'd be able to appreciate it.
Yeah, that definitely seems cool. Now, I want to ask you about towards the end of the season, heading into the Hockey's playoffs, your team was struggling a bit, even losing 10-1 against BC. How did you manage that tough point during the season, and what helped you successfully qualify for the Hockey's playoffs?
I think we just got to stay positive. I mean, obviously we went through a stretch there. I think we lost like 6 or 7 straight or something like that. And, obviously we weren't playing our best hockey, weren't getting any bounces for sure. I thought we were still doing, some things the right way, and we just weren't getting bounces. And our coaches really never got down on us. We had a young team, and just got to stay positive. And I think, we definitely battled it out, till the last game. We had to win that game against BU to get into the playoffs, and we did. But yeah, that was definitely a lot of adversity for us. I think that's going to help us going into this year. We had 11 freshmen last year. We all kind of saw the league first and foremost last year and how tough it is and how close it is. And, going through a stretch like that definitely kind of, toughens you up a bit and makes you realize how hard it is.
You were supposed to play UMass before everything got shut down because of COVID. How did you find out, and what was your team's reaction?
Yeah, we were actually in the locker room on the bus, or about to load the bus up to go to UMass. So we were scheduled to leave, in the morning on Thursday, go up and practice at UMass, and then stay of the night and play Friday. So we got to the locker room, our bags were all packed, we were ready to go, and coach said, "I'll give us like 30 minutes. We gotta, be delayed a little bit here." And then he came in, and we were all checking our phones and seeing the other leagues were canceled, and he came in and broke the news to us, and it was devastating, especially for all the seniors and guys that are moving on that worked so hard and put so much into the program. It was really hard to see them emotional and see them not be able to finish off what they started. But they had such a successful career here, and it was definitely devastating. But it happened to the whole world, and there was a lot bigger problems going on. So there's nothing you can do.
And what is it like to play in Hockey East and having to face tough competition night in and night out? Because even like the number 7th team could be a ranked team if they played in any other conference.
Yeah, there's definitely no days off, no nights off. Every game's a battle, and we saw that last year. The teams that were ranked lower in the standings doesn't mean anything. The standings, doesn't tell you how good a team is because everyone's good. You have to bring your game every night. you have to be ready to battle every night. You know, a lot of different types of teams in the league. There's a lot of teams that are very skilled, very fast, and some teams that, you know, like to grind and wear you down. So I think knowing your opponent's really important too. And, you know, we always prepare pretty well for our opponents. But yeah, it's a tough league. It's really close. It's also tough, like, you know, a lot of the guys in the other teams because all the schools are so close to each other. So, you know, there's definitely a lot of bragging rights and teams that you definitely and guys that you key on that, you know, you definitely want to beat. So
Now, what is your favorite road arena to play in Hockey East?
I'd probably have to say playing at Maine was really cool. They had a really good crowd that night, and that's a cool rink, but it's small. I probably would say playing at BC or BU, just because I'm a local kid and I grew up going to, you know, games at both those rinks, and you know, I hate both those schools. So anytime you can go there and get a W is special, and you know, also seeing a lot of friends and family in the stands too. So probably BC or BU.
Now, I want to talk about the draft a little bit. What was your draft day experience like, and how did you find out you were going to the Canucks?
I was actually on vacation in Martha's Vineyard, which is an island off the coast of Boston, off the coast of Cape Cod, and I was out to lunch with a bunch of my really close to my 4 best friends and 3 best friends from Milton, and I wasn't really following it all because I kind of followed it the year before and I didn't get picked. So, you know, the last year I kind of decided I wasn't going to watch it. And so, yeah, we were just at lunch, and my 2 friends just went to the bathroom and came running out. I hadn't checked my phone really all day, and they said, "You just got drafted." My dad just texted me, and after that, it was kind of crazy. My phone started blowing up, and the Canucks called me. Coach Madigan called me. My dad called me. My phone was getting a bunch of calls and texts and stuff. So you know, that was really special. And then that night, I had to take the last ferry home at 8 o'clock and head out to Vancouver the next morning. So it was a pretty quick 24 hours, and definitely, I think I wouldn't want to have it any other way. I think, you know, watching the draft, or even some of the guys this year that on our team that went in the 7th round, I felt really bad from just sitting there all day watching it, like stressing out and sweating all the time. So I think the way I did it was awesome with my 3 best friends, and I was able to share it with them.
Now, what was your reaction going to Vancouver? Because obviously they've had some Northeastern talent go through there. Adam Gaudette's there now. Tyler Madden was drafted there. What do you want to bring to that organization?
Yeah, that was probably one of the first couple of things I thought of was their connection with Northeastern, which was good that I had some comfortability there, and you know, that they know the school well and the coaches well, and the coaches know the organization well. You know, being a Bruins fan kind of growing up, it was a little bit different with, you know, the whole 2011 Stanley Cup playoffs, and I just knew it was a crazy hockey city in a Canadian market. And yeah, having Adam there and Maz was there, but he got traded and stuff was really nice just to know I had some familiar faces. And also my best friend growing up was Jack Rathbone, and he was also drafted there. So knowing those guys were there, it was really cool. And then what I like to bring in the organization is, you know, just a big power forward who loves to score goals and makes plays and, you know, tries to do anything to help the team win. I think I'm, you know, still have a long way to go in terms of getting better and faster and stronger and quicker. And, you know, I think I'm going to take my time with it and, you know, try to do as best I can.
Now, you got to participate in their development camp. What was that like, and what was the coolest thing you got to do when you were up in Vancouver?
Yeah, that was awesome. You know, being in British Columbia, I'd never been to Western Canada, so it was beautiful, right on the ocean and saw the mountains and stuff. So yeah, it's an awesome city. It's really nice, and being able to go out there and compete against, you know, all those guys is really fun. And, you know, it's good to kind of measuring stick of see where you are and how you can kind of compare to those guys. And I had a lot of fun out there. I thought I did pretty well. And probably the coolest thing we did was, you know, it wasn't exactly a ton of fun, but we had the last day we had to go. It's called the Grouse Grind, they call it. And we had to hike up this mountain for like about an hour. It's like a straight incline. And, you know, it wasn't the best at the time. It was like pretty early in the morning. We were hiking up a mountain sweating. But when you get to the top, it's really cool. You can see a view of, you know, the whole city and the ocean and everything like that. So it's beautiful.
Now, what is the communication like between you and the Canucks during a college hockey year?
Well, probably during the season's a little bit more than it is in the off season. I would say in the off season, it's probably, you know, every month or so, just kind of checking in, see if I need anything. Strength and conditioning coaches will reach out and see if you need any questions or, you know, sending you some lifts and things to work on. And then the same thing, the development guys we'll reach out and, to see how you're doing, if you have any questions, anything like that. So it's not too much in the off season. Then during the season, it's a little bit more. I get sent clips probably every 3 or 4 games and suggestions that they say. So like every 3 or 4 games, they'll watch my shifts and send me, just some critiques or some things they thought I did well, some things I can work on. So it's good because, during the season, you're hearing a lot of stuff from your coaches and they're kind of always on you about, working on this or good job about that. It's kind of good to have a different voices in there other than your normal Northeastern coaches. So it kind of gives you a different perspective and kind of to see what they have to say. And they probably came out last year probably like 4 or 5 times to come watch, which was really cool. Just watch games and catch up with them after. So, it's good because they're there, but they're also, let me have my space and, give me my space to develop and stuff like that. But it's good to have some contact with them.
I want to ask you about one of your teammates. You got to play with Craig Panton, who was a great goalie. What was he like, and what was it like to have him as your backstop throughout the entire season?
Yeah, Panner was awesome. He's a really funny guy. He's he's kind of your typical goalie. He's quirky and really fun to be around in the locker room. He's always, has a smile on his face, and he's really even keeled and mellow. And I think he kind of brings that onto the ice. He's a really calm goalie, and he kind of never gets too high or too low out there. And he was really good for us last year, probably a huge reason for our success. And he earned it for sure. Worked really hard throughout the whole year, and he's kind of like an older veteran in our locker room because it was his 5th year in school, and he was taking graduate courses. But Panner was awesome, and he's a great guy.
And now we're in the non-hockey segment of the podcast. My first question is, what's your favorite thing about Boston that isn't hockey related?
The people probably. I grew up 10, 15 minutes outside of the city, and I think Bostonians are definitely a lot different than other people, but I love them, and it's kind of where I belong. And the people here are really passionate, hardworking, and caring people. So, yeah.
What music do you listen to before a game, and which arena has the best warm-up mix?
Ooh, it's a tough one. Well, music before the game, usually it's just whatever's on the locker room. I'll listen to, usually rap or hip hop on the way to the rink. But then once I get to the rink, I take my headphones out. It's whatever the boys are playing in the aux in the locker room. I'm trying to think of best away mix. That's a good question. I don't know. I think
No, UConn had a good mix. That's what someone said.
Really, yeah.
Yeah.
I honestly, it's a tough one to remember. I remember in Ireland, the Belfast, the mixes were kind of different because it was the music over there. They kept on playing Baby Shark in between every whistle, and the kids would go nuts. So I just remember that. Probably them. I think they had a good mixes over there. It was the kind of European stuff. So.
Now, besides yourself, who has the best style on the team?
Oh, best style. I hate to say it because he's my roommate, but Riley Hughes has some pretty good style. He, kind of dresses a little bit different and a little hipster, but he has some good style. Last year was probably John Picking. He was a senior. He had really good style. He has good hair. So, but yeah, probably those two have good style.
Now, if you could have lunch with anybody in the world, who would it be and why?
Ooh. Living or non-living?
It doesn't matter.
Probably say my grandfather. He passed away last February, and probably able to have lunch with him and kind of pick his brain about what he thinks about the last few months have been going on, because it's been kind of a crazy couple months, and he probably has some interesting things to say about that. So probably him.
Now, back to some hockey questions now. What advice would you give someone trying to make it to D1 college hockey?
A couple of things. I think one, have fun with it. You got to love the game and you got to have fun, because, if you're not doing that, then you're never going to be happy, or you're never going to get better. If you don't, have fun and love the game, then you're not going to be able to grow as a player and as a person. And I think just kind of to stick with it and keep working hard. If I look back at my probably 7th grade self and told me to be a Division I hockey player, I'm probably pretty shocked. I think everyone's development paths are different, and that the guy that's the best player in 7th or 8th grade or freshman year isn't always the best player when he's in college. And to not worry about what other kids are doing, and if other kids are committing and are getting interest from junior teams and stuff like that to kind of just not really listen to that and focus on yourself, because if you keep working hard, your time will come. So yeah, I think I used to kind of get caught up into that when I was younger, and that was probably one of the biggest things my dad harped on was you just got to keep on working hard and trying to get better every day. And if you do that, you know you're going to have success.
Now, who's the hardest goal you've ever faced in college hockey?
Swayman last year in Maine was good. I thought Wall on Lowell was really good. But probably the guy who sent us the most, I think, was Lekes on Vermont. We had a lot of shots on him, and he was really good. They hadn't been as great the last few years, so he sees a lot of shots and maybe doesn't get the recognition that he deserves. But I thought he was really good, and he stuffed us a bunch of times. So,
Well, do you have any shout-outs before we let you go?
no, I think that's it. Maybe just shout out to my Milton boys. I guess that's about it. My buddies, and shout out to the pump squad. I guess the guys I work out with in the summer, but that's about it.
Nice. Now, much, Aidan, for coming on. I appreciate it so much. I wish you nothing but the best for next season, and stay safe. And hopefully, I'll be coming to a game shortly.
Yeah, definitely. I appreciate it. Yeah, thanks for having me on.
No problem. Have a great day.
All right, you too. Bye.